are back with another episode of Two Straws.
Hey. Yes. And what week is it?
It's fight week! Yay!
It's a long time coming too, because we've been to this fight week before.
You know what?
Hey,
we
no
get a
knocking
do-over.
on
We get a
wood.
do-over.
It's gonna happen. No need for luck or chance or whatever. You're making it to the stage.
I was just
all.
talking to somebody the other day about how, so I've been in this sport for over a decade and a half. I mean, 17 years of training, competing, and all that kind of stuff. Uh-huh. And I'm I feel like numbers wise, I just have there's a lot more possibility of weird shit happening. So yeah,
because you've shown up a million times.
Yeah,
it's just something that happens. There's a bingo list somewhere of things that can happen to you in your MMA career. Luckily, you haven't checked the shit yourself box yet, but we know many of you.
Hey. Why are you going to even put that out into the universe?
I know. I'm just saying.
What's your problem?
There are a lot of weird anomalies that happen, and you've checked a bunch of boxes, but luckily not the really bad ones. And that was one of them. And now we got that out the way, and now it's never going to happen again.
What is your problem?
No, I'm just saying the getting sick during a weight cut, it happens a bunch. In fact, it happened to 2 people in the last fight card this weekend.
Right?
So
Damn.
The main event at that. And that's the worst one, because there's so much pressure on you to just do it anyway. Just do it even though you feel like shit and you're probably going to get your ass kicked. You just want to just fight anyway.
What's worse though, Because it's if you go ahead and you make the decision, which you and I both and many other fighters have made the decision to fight despite what is going on, whether it's injury, health, emotional, whatever it is. We've made the decision to fight, and then once you fight, you can't say
you can't use
you can't
legitimate excuse.
Nobody wants to hear it, even though it's completely valid and it is completely it is.
It's reality, but
you can never talk about it
unless you win.
Ever.
If you win, you can talk about it, and everyone calls you a hero, Dan Gable or something. Wasn't it Dan Gable who broke his leg and then wrestled and got a Olympic gold medal or belt or whatever he did? It's only applauded when you win, and when you lose, you look like you're making excuses.
Yes. Even when I have won those fights, I still haven't said it. And I could have, I guess.
You should have.
But I just felt like I shouldn't.
Damn, she's just like Dan Gable. She won that fight with one knee. Yeah,
I missed my moment.
Yeah, what happened? What's wrong with you?
I think know.
Maybe it's a gender thing. Because I feel like a lot of times, well, I guess both genders have this, but a lot of times we feel pressure not to complain. And I think for guys, it's it's a manly thing if you don't complain. But for women, it's oh, you're a little bitch. Just like women to make excuses. So we're fighting against a stereotype as well. So maybe it's just a fighter thing. We try to be tougher than a human is, and we're all human. So that part sucks. But, luckily Krylov didn't have to fight with his foodborne illness. He had the foresight to not fight and not
I admire that.
Not check the poop yourself box, because that very well could have happened too.
He could have barfed or crapped or who knows what could have happened. That's an awful thing to have to fight through. Even just people don't even get up and go to an office job when they have a foodborne illness. And you guys are, gonna give this poor guy crap.
Get in a fight
against
someone who's been watching tape on you.
No, thank you. No, I admire that. I admire that because there are so many times where probably shouldn't have taken a fight, myself or other people, and they've paid the price for it. So I salute him for standing up for himself. Your health is most important. Live to fight another day. So I think that's great. And I think more, fighters should, stand up and say like, hey, I'm not well. It's, we deserve to get to fight at 100% or as close to it as possible because nobody goes in at 100% ever. So I think it's really, brave and admirable.
And I think it's happening a little more often now.
I've definitely noticed that. Yeah.
Maybe with better pay, maybe people are actually able to afford to not fight that time. When before it was like, okay, this is all the money you could possibly make in a year and it's not that much. So you got to show up, you know, like it's life or death or, paying rent or not paying rent. Like that's a big difference there.
Been there.
But yeah, we all have. We all started off making shit.
What did you make for your first fight?
I think it was it 3-3? I think it was 3-3. I was pretty happy with it though. It was supposed to be 5-5, but I need to pay my opponent part of my purse to show up because I was at a time constraint and no one wanted to fight me because I had 16-0 Muay Thai record, but no amateur MMA record. So people didn't really know what to expect. Yeah. So it was hard for me to get my first foot in the door.
Sure.
So yeah, It was 3-3.
Nice.
What about you?
400 to show, 200 to win, and then I got a $200 bonus for submission.
Oh,
so
nice.
I made $800.
Hey.
And I got a free trip to Evansville, Indiana in November.
Nice. So you made more than me, but you lost your soul by going to Indiana in November.
It was really cold.
Oh my God.
And I was a wee little 105er back then.
Dude, I feel like your bones would have snapped in half just walking off of the plane.
Yeah. There was, I think the worst it was for me was I was fighting at the Dakota Magic. It was on the border of North and South Dakota. And I was fighting at 105 pounds. And back then I was, pretty small, but I didn't know how to cut water weight. The whole idea of water weight like really scared me, and I didn't, I just didn't understand it. So I would diet like all the way down, and I was freezing.
Yeah,
like I could not step foot outside. My team had to go get the car, turn the car heater on because you have to walk like all the way to the parking lot. You're parked way in the back. I mean, we left a cup of water in the car, just for a very short amount of time, came back and it was frozen solid.
No.
It was so cold.
Oh my God. There is nothing that I miss less about living in New York than cutting weight. I fought a couple times at 105 too. And cutting weight and riding the subway on those hard ass seats with no meat on your tailbone, like that is the worst. It literally a 15-minute subway ride feels like an hour because you feel every shake and bump on the subway. I usually would work a shift before I go to weigh-ins, so I don't know. I was a masochist, so I was just like, it's fine. I'll just busy my mind with work and watching people eat. And
that's the worst.
It was great. Yeah, but for some reason it worked for me. But that subway ride was the worst. I could just feel every bone shake in my body because that's literally all I was bones.
Yeah.
I should have brought, we kept joking that I should have brought one of those hernia pads so I could ride that on the subway and not be uncomfortable.
I mean, it would have been a bad idea, hindsight,
Definitely. Ugh,
poor little thing.
So little skinny bony ass Angela. We would have been great friends. Bony Jess and Bony Ange.
The perfect duet. Just like now.
We just couldn't hug each other. Just probably cut each other open. Oh God. But yeah, so you get to come in at the hefty 115-pound limit this time.
Yes.
So that's always a privilege. And let's talk about fight camp a little bit. Like, how's it gone? Are you sick of it? Do you love it? Are you at least a little more comfortable having time to prepare this time? Because last time you were flirting with the the short notice thing, and then
it just wasn't meant to be.
Sick.
It was not meant to be. It's okay. Maybe another time we'll revisit it.
Yeah. It's on your bingo list.
Yeah. I mean, I've taken a really short notice fight before.
Oh, tell me.
Yeah,
Tell me
7 days notice, and I went and fought shoot boxing in Japan.
Ooh, that's sick though. I remember you told me about that.
Most incredible fight experience. Favorite fight memory of all time.
Awesome. So you do have good short notice fight memories.
Yeah, I've actually when I would you know, when I was coming up, like some fights would just, you know, pop up and happen, but you know, it's different. It was way back when I was, you know, a young lady.
Just young and crazy, little daredevil. I do feel like the older I get, the less eager I am to jump into crazy situations. Like I understand the risk a little too much.
Yeah.
I remember when I first visited you actually in California, we went to a BJJ class and I picked the biggest guy in the room and was just like having a crazy grapple fest with them, like just scramble all over the place. And afterwards I like looked at you and was like, you're like, you're fucking crazy.
Like, what is your issue?
And I'm like, what is she talking about? But now I know. Like,
no, because you still do it. Because I remember like months ago when we were getting ready for the first time I was supposed to fight Ricci on short notice, we go into Steel to spar Muay Thai on like a Tuesday night, and she picks like this 180, 90 pound like big dude that does not look like he knows how to like go light with women.
Did I spar him? Or
you started to, and then Adam came and got you. I was like,
well, now I don't fight Adam when he tells me to go shadow box.
Oh my God. I was like, why are you picking out these large humans?
Sometimes they're easier than the girls. As long as you use good head
as long
movement.
as their mom raised them right, I guess. But jeez.
You just got to poke the bear and then run away. Just whoop, 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 whoop. Get him tired and then you can kick him in the butt. Yeah.
I like fighting in the pocket way too much. So that's just, it's never been for me.
Yeah, you don't go fire for fire with those guys. You go fake fire, watch a fire, and then pretty much practice running the whole time. Yeah, exactly.
You can't catch me.
Yeah.
Ever for 5 minutes. Cardio session. Yeah.
If you do, then it usually sucks. Yeah. But so how are you feeling?
No, I'm feeling really good. I feel like I got to like this different level in this camp. It's really kind of hard to explain, but I feel good. I feel well prepared. I feel like very in the zone.
Nice.
Yes.
Good.
Yeah.
Very good.
Yes.
You look very zen right now talking about how zen you are. So
thank you.
I believe it. I believe her yet. Sometimes I don't. But today I do. We got to really focus on some things, and it might have been a blessing in disguise just being able to take a step back, because Ricci is a good opponent. Is there anything that you'd want to say to like the viewers or whatever to get them pumped up about this fight? Like, I don't know. You know how people talk up their fights and they're like, it's gonna be a bloodbath, you know? I don't know. It's gonna be a test of skill versus skill.
I think that this is, potentially a really fun matchup. I think that, it takes two to tango. So I hope that she is as eager, to compete as I am. I think I see some great opportunities to capitalize on.
Ooh.
So I'm excited to see where it goes. I don't really like going in with a set game plan. I mean, we talked about this previously.
Yeah.
I've never really gone in with a game plan because I feel like sometimes I will like stick to that way too much. So I like going in with an idea of like tendencies, things to kind of watch out for, things to be aware of, counters to those kind of situations. But I like having kind of like the freedom because I think regular, sparring or training can be so like I don't know, what's the right word? Restrictive or constricting or whatever the fucking word is. I'm low on carbs. Leave me alone.
That's the word.
That's the word. Yeah. You know what I mean?
I like that word for
but
this.
I just, I like to feel free inside there. And I like to, you know, see where my body wants to go, see what it wants to do. You know, I've been training for a long time, and, sometimes like my body will surprise me, and I'll, you know, be in situations and I'll do something that I was like,
usually looks like that.
Yeah, I was like, where did this come from?
Yeah, it looks like that.
Like,
something like that.
What's happening? But yeah, my body does what it wants to do.
Hey.
So I just, you know, I got to give it the freedom to do as it wants.
It has a mind of its own.
It really does.
I always said that you should, like, you don't have a nickname, which is weird. Freaking freak.
I don't need one.
But I always said that your nickname should have been something like Octopussy.
Don't make that a thing.
I think it's a great nickname because your limbs just come from anywhere and you just attack your opponent's like little tentacle monster.
Have you ever seen some of my earlier fights?
Yeah.
They're like, I make it funky. And I think that that's something that I was having an issue with going up to straw weight and competing against bigger girls, because I felt like I couldn't do that because it just wouldn't present itself, or they were too big, too strong, because I still view myself as like an atom weight or an undersized straw weight. That's how, I don't know. I haven't been able to really get past it, even though I know I'm bigger and stronger and faster. Shut up. But I still feel like a little atom weight.
Little baby.
Yes.
Little bony Jess is in there screaming.
Yes. So it's been interesting, especially since I haven't, you know, been able to compete very consistently in the past few years. I really haven't hadn't really found my stride, my rhythm. And I think I'm, you know, at a point where I'm more comfortable at straw weight, more comfortable with, you know, what I can do or what I want to do inside the octagon.
Yeah. It's almost like getting put in one of those mechs, right? When you move up in a weight class, because like I said, I used to fight at 105 too. And for the longest, I would just walk at 120, fight at 115. Like that was, it was just the way that my metabolism worked. And I just was like, well, fuck it. I'm never going to get bigger. And then once you finally settle into like a slightly bigger body, you still feel like you're this tiny person working your body, even though you do have the size and you do have like the leverage and stuff that you wouldn't have had when you were like a little bony thing.
Sure.
So it's nice to see you kind of fall into that and realize, oh, I can move people. I can hit someone with my fucking hamstring and it actually does something. Like it'll move them, and then I can snake in my little foot and do my Octopussy thing, and I don't have to worry about just getting smashed. So that's kind of cool to see that transition, and it sucks because you have unfortunately not been able to get in there that often as a strawweight, but now you're gonna get to fight next week. You're gonna get to show off your skills and show like, man, you got some shit for these girls. So yeah, I'm excited for you.
I'm excited too.
Yay! So a lot of fights happened since we last met. I mean, it's only been 2 weeks, but there's been a lot of shit going on.
A lot has happened.
Yeah. Is there one you want to start with?
I think we can start with Vegas 69. Andrade. I know.
Should we leave it for the exclusive?
We can if you want to.
No. Let's start with that.
Or my OnlyFans, whatever.
Hey.
I mean, we can't put it on yours, but we can put it on mine.
We could put it on all of them.
Oh. So we had Jessica Andrade versus Erin Blanchfield.
Yeah.
Stepping up as the main event because the previous main event fell through, and the whole card was kind of like having a lot of trouble sticking together.
What was the previous main event? Do you remember?
Don't put me on the spot.
Shit. Well, I don't remember.
I thought it was some big guys.
I think I could probably pull up that little graphic and thing. But that was, I mean, I thought it was originally that. So that's information for me.
No, so Jessica ended up stepping in like on a week notice.
Okay, Talia Sand. Oh, it was Marlon Vera versus Corey Sandhagen.
Yeah.
I'm assuming that was the main event.
That was the main event. And then Aaron was supposed to fight
Talia Santos.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which was, going to be an exciting matchup, but whatever happened. Jessica Andrade steps in, and she took it about on a week notice. And I thought it would make for an interesting matchup. However, I wasn't sure what shape Jessica would show up in. Mm-hmm. And she was having some trouble in the first round finding, her range. Blanchfield was using really good straight punches, 1-2s, and really keeping her at distance. But Jessica was starting to kind of work her way in. And then in the second round, Aaron took her down, passed to side control, then took her back and choked her out really fast. And I really was not expecting that to happen like that. I could have seen maybe, it going into the later rounds because she wasn't in shape and, all these other, factors kind of worked in. I know that some people have said that, Jessica's 115er. No, she fought at bantamweight.
Yeah, she's everything. She's just a little box of muscle that will show up at whatever weight you want and fuck
she
someone
can be up. And she can.
Well, I was just gonna say, and she's ranked number 2 at flyweight.
Yeah, so don't give me none of that.
You can't can't downplay her. If there's no one better than her at flyweight, she's a strawweight. No, stop.
Stop it. And she was like kind of 50-50. I forget what the term is, but she's kind of 50-50 at bantamweight. She was undersized, but she still had success. But it was, kind of hit or miss with her.
Yeah, the size was an issue at bantamweight.
It was.
I think at flyweight, her tenacity and the fact that she isn't super undersized, she can kind of use her shortness like a little Mike Tyson and use it to get in, it to get to that uncomfortable range where you can't really punch the shorter person without your punches getting crushed.
Yeah.
She does that really well at flyweight. So I was really impressed with Blanchfield, despite the fact that Andrade showed up on a week's notice. She still looked pretty sharp. She didn't look like her cardio was fading her at all when the fight finally got stopped in the second round. Like, if anything, if it had gone 5 rounds, then maybe you'd see that, but it didn't start affecting her yet.
Yeah.
So the first round was bananas.
Yeah.
Like you were saying, the straight punches were getting her, but she was throwing too. Like, it was kind of a rock'em sock'em robot kind of first round.
Yeah.
Where they were both eating a lot, but it looked like Andrade was eating a bit more. So
it definitely did.
That was the big question mark in my head for Erin Blanchfield is, what does her striking look like? Because she usually takes people down too fast to actually see what it looks like.
Yeah.
And in this fight, she proved, hey, I can stand on the feet. I cannot take too much damage and give my own while I'm setting up that takedown.
No, she looked really good. We didn't get to see, too much of it in her last time out with Molly.
Yeah.
So it was definitely like up until this point, it was a question mark for me.
Yeah. Literally with Molly, it was like bell rung, shot. You know, she might have glove tap first.
Yeah.
But the shot came before any punches were thrown. So we had no idea after that fight. And
and then do you want to mention...
We have to.
We have to. Okay. So so right after the fight, Jessica Andrade mentioned that she, gave up the takedown because she was so distracted because her sports bra slipped down. But I was like, you know what? I know what that material looks like and feels like. I was like, it's so high. I don't know if it would slip down, but I did watch it in slow motion. And there is a moment where it actually slips up.
It slipped
and
up.
I saw under boob.
Yeah.
I saw complete under boob. By the time she hit the canvas, it was down. But I understand how that could be a little bit distracting. Just a little bit. And then I'm totally gonna get distracted. But I remember Leslie Smith in Invicta.
Yes.
She wore a Lululemon sports bra, which has no business being in any kind of combat or competitive sport or anything other than like maybe doing yoga and taking cute pictures.
It says low impact. It says it on
a minimal. I have that bra. And I was like, girl, I remember thinking backstage, I was like, why are you wearing that bra? I would never wear that bra.
Yeah, it says low impact on the label.
Anyways, her bra came completely up, but it did not stop her. She was still throwing those friggin' haymakers at her opponent. And I remember the commentary desk. It was like right in front of them. And they're like, oh my.
The best part about Leslie Smith's little boob moment was that she wasn't the person against the fence.
No.
She was the person pushing the girl against the fence. So at any point, she could have backed off and pulled her bra back.
Yeah, but she did not.
She was like, nope, you're going to look at these titties as I'm fucking you up. And there's nothing you can do about it. That is salute to Leslie Smith. That is like.
What a stud.
That is the most G thing she's done aside from having her ears split open and begging to continue to fight. Like that, she is crazy. Like legit crazy, legit a G. So yeah, it does for most people though who aren't Leslie Smith, it will give you a second to pause. Like I talked about that moment where I got yelled at for grabbing the cage and it made me pause. And then I was like, oh shit, I'm getting choked, So there little brief moments like that in the fight feel like minutes. Like a second will feel like a full minute of you just going, my boob. Oh no, I'm going down. And I totally get why that was like a big moment in her head, even though on the replay, it's literally a millisecond that it kind of pops out and then goes back in.
Yeah.
So I get why she would say that. But her boob being out didn't cause her to get her guard pass, didn't cause her to give up her back, and didn't cause her to get choked out. So we can't take that away from Blanchfield either.
No.
Maybe it would have taken her a little longer to get the takedown. Maybe it would have taken her an extra step. She hit a really nice inside trip. Maybe she would have had to hit a second inside trip if Andrade wasn't distracted or a hip bump or something like that. But you can tell that the takedown eventually probably would have happened. And after the takedown happened, everything else was with boob in.
Yeah.
So, but I get it. I get why you would mention that because it's a thing that happens. And little moments like that can sway.
They can change the course of the fight. They really can.
You never know. And the question mark is the thing that frustrates a fighter the most when they're on the losing end. Is like, what if? What if that thing didn't happen?
Absolutely.
Another person had a boob moment. And I might be jumping ahead, but Tatiana Suarez had made a big comeback. She fought at 125 versus what is her name? Montana LaRosa?
Montana LaRosa.
Montana LaRosa. I like Montana LaRosa better.
That was very fancy.
I know.
I had to process that for a second. I was like, oh,
what's
I actually.
her first name?
I was like, that's a cool name. I don't think it's it, but that's really cool.
I just mashed her names together. It was like, what's her first name? You know that girl, something Angela Hill? Montana De La Rosa, she had a similar moment where her boob popped out. And it was while she was fighting off like a takedown or something. She was up against the fence and Suarez was underneath her chest and kind of pushing the boob up. And she complained that might have had something to do with her performance. So yeah, it's a thing that people are going to now.
Listen,
I don't know.
I get how it can be a thing, but honestly, I've like that reason. I have always worn 2 sports bras.
Yeah,
always.
Yeah,
because I don't want to have to worry about that. Mm-hmm. And so I would invite anyone moving forward who has to wear a sports bra while they compete, double it up.
Where to? And I hate that restriction on the chest.
So I get a size bigger, 2 size bigger, because that sports bra is so uncomfortable. Mm-hmm. And maybe that's why it was so loose on Andrade or like loose on the other girls, because it is so uncomfortable. It's not an actual sports bra. It like restricts like you from breathing. Your rib cage cannot move. So I get like 2 size bigger. I wear like a size extra large or something, or a size large, and I am a small.
Oh,
but it's just they're so uncomfortable.
Yeah, I hate wearing sports bras. I'll bring pasties. I usually never wear them because I'll try on the bra and I'm like, okay, I don't think I need to worry about it. But every now and then they change the design. Like when they went from Reebok to Venom, a few times during the Reebok era, they would change the elastic on there. So I always brought pasties just in case.
Yeah.
But when I don't wear anything underneath, I'm like, all right, I know this could happen. Don't flinch, if it happens, protect yourself at all times, and then put your boob away and hope and pray that the censored people get in there in time. Yeah. I just blur that thing out, blur that sucker out. I don't care if the people in the arena see. I don't care if my opponent ends up accidentally sucking on a tit. I don't care. I don't care. As long as I can breathe, I'm good. So you kind of have to make that, you kind of have to realize that going in there. Like, if you're not going to double up, you got to be prepared for a little lewd action.
It's a possibility.
Yeah, guys have to deal with it too. Balls hanging out. Hey, the guys who wear the short shorts, your ball could slip right out of there. Especially if you wear the short.
They wear cups that cradle them.
Yeah, but your balls can still slip out. Some guys don't fight in a cup.
Really?
Yeah, they say you wearing a cup, and they go, and they tap their not cup.
Pelvic bone?
What is this? Yeah, what's right there? They'll be like, yep, and then they send them in there.
Interesting.
Yeah, I think it's more jiu-jitsu guys than anything.
I was going to say, I'm pretty sure you have to wear a cup in...
No, I know at least a handful of guys. I can't remember exactly who.
Or maybe a soft cup or something like that.
Yeah, no, I know people who don't fight in cups. They're crazy.
That's wild.
They're insane.
That's wild.
I think it's stupid. The way I see people react when they do wear a cup and they get their balls kicked.
Dude, fights have been stopped.
Yeah.
Fights have been stopped.
Yeah.
Because they cannot recover from that.
Yeah, and imagine you get kicked in the nuts and then your nut falls out of your pants. They can't find it. I don't know. We're off the rails.
Just rolls away like a friggin' marble. Is that how it works?
Oh, God. Wasn't there a fight where a guy's eyeball fell out? I think he had a glass eye.
No.
I've seen the video before.
Stop it.
It was one of these like Cali Cage Wars, like chicken coop fights where a guy had a glass eyeball and it rolled out.
I was like, what commission would sanction that fight license? What?
There was no commission.
Okay.
There was a guy with a striped shirt on. It said fight, and that's it. That was the commission.
He got it from the Halloween section.
Oh, God. Yeah. But yeah, so back to UFC 69. Mm-hmm. That was a really impressive win for Erin Blanchfield. Who do you think she gets next?
Maybe one more and then a title shot. Maybe.
Like maybe Talia.
Yeah, I mean, I think that should be an elimination fight. I think that's what it probably was initially. A win over Andrade is huge. So, I mean, I could see them giving her one more fight or pushing her forward after this one.
Yeah.
After 285, my card when Valentina takes on Alexa Grasso.
Yeah.
So I could see, that happening.
Yeah. Interesting stuff. Any other fights from that card jump out on you?
No, I think we can fast forward. I just, I like covering the girls.
Yeah. Let me just check. Yes, I am also good with fast forwarding. So let's do that.
I mean, we did mention Tatiana Suarez and her comeback fight briefly, but we didn't talk about, what kind of a big deal it is that, the UFC made it coming back because she was out for 3 years?
3 years, yeah.
3 years with back-to-back injuries. She had to pull out of her last fight, like right before she was supposed to fight because of an ACL tear, I believe it was. So, I mean, she's had a lot of injuries, a lot of setbacks, health issues mostly. And it's, it was exciting that, the Ultimate Fighter winner, could come back and perform well. Yeah. She came back at 125 pounds and, also made the statement that she would like to go back down to 115. I personally think that she's a 125er. I think she's well sized. But I did see, I do know that Montana is actually like a pretty good sized 125er. She cuts a lot of weight. So I think it would maybe be a little bit more of an adjustment for her to stay at 125 than she's wanting to make. And I think maybe it's just easier to cut the weight and go down to 115.
Yeah.
I mean, you get the
says
size.
the former Adam weight.
Well, it's I understand.
I feel like you understand more so because of that.
Yeah, I do. But if I could go back down to 120 or 105, I would. I would suck all that weight because I feel that I am bigger, stronger, faster, and better, and I have better utilization of my skills at 105. Whereas I'm going up a weight class to 115 and I'm competing against people who are, sometimes 125ers and they're sucking a lot of weight to get down at 115 because they want that advantage. So I would love to have that advantage. I understand why people cut so much weight because it does make a difference.
Yeah, but when you're riddled with injuries, then it can do more harm than good.
For sure.
Cutting that weight, like we've seen with a lot of people, most of the cast of our tough that are still active are at 125.
Yeah.
So a lot of those girls, they either hit like a growth spurt or you put on a certain amount of muscle or your just body gets tired of cutting that weight and it lashes out in different ways. So it could be during hard training, during fight camp, when your body's at your most brittle, when you're trying to cut that weight, you don't have the cushion. You don't have the extra like meat in your or the extra muscle in your body to support your ACL, to support your ligaments, to support like, your rib cage and shit. Like I feel like a lot of random injuries happen when you cut too much weight.
For sure.
So I do think that she'd probably be healthier at 125, but she has to make that journey to figure it out. Yeah. And hopefully when she does make that journey, it doesn't lead her to another huge long layoff because those injuries are a big deal. Like I think the first one was her back.
It was her back or her neck. I think it was her neck.
Yeah, like similar to algel. And then the next one was her ACL. She's probably the most resilient mentally person, with her backstory, just because, coming back from cancer too, being a wrestler, there's a lot that she's overcome. So I get that she feels like she can do it. I'm just hoping that, knock on wood, it doesn't lead to more injuries because that's the pattern that we've seen with a lot of people who cut a lot of weight. And she's not small.
No.
Like
she's a good size.
Yeah.
She's a good size.
She looks hefty. Yeah, she looks hefty. But, I also feel like there's a lot of huge straw weights out there that are still doing well. So, maybe that's what she's going to have to figure out for herself.
For sure.
But also, the flyweight weight class is a much shorter ladder to climb.
And it's crazy because I feel like flyweight is just such, it should be a deeper weight class than what it is because it's, I don't know, it's like the size of normal females.
Yeah, no, I get you. Like when you see a bantamweight in person, she looks like an Amazon.
Yeah.
Usually because they're so big and then they cut down to 135, but they also have like 0% body fat. So think of any woman that with 0% body fat, they're usually on the smaller side. But these women are 135. If I could fight at 125, I would love to because I feel like it's just easier to be competitive. For whatever reason, maybe because they were the last weight class to be brought into the UFC, the talent pool isn't as deep. So if you're exceptional at 125, you shoot right to the top of the list.
I mean, that case in point is Alexa Grasso, who is, fighting Valentina Shevchenko on my card.
Yeah, exactly.
It's my card. It's not their card.
It's your card. Everyone's coming to see you. It is.
But yeah, I mean that's a perfect example of it, and another example of somebody who was forcing themselves to try and be at 115, and their body didn't want to be there anymore. And luckily, she didn't stay in that space of trying to like make it work for too long. Although she did miss weight. She did have some, difficulties, but she went up to 125 and it's, one or two fights and she's in title contention.
Mm-hmm.
It's just that's how it is in that weight class. It's a little bit shorter of a road, but I mean there are other challenges with it, but it is a little bit faster of a track.
Yeah.
To get to the title.
Yeah, and now that we've seen Shevchenko actually have some have some pushback in there. She's not just smashing people. It definitely seems like a more achievable version of getting that belt than 115, just because of all the people you have to take out on the way to the top.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we see you, Tatiana, but maybe stay up there because we don't want to deal with your Just saying, maybe it'll be better for you. We have some other fights on that, but that was kind of my main event right there. Augusto Sakai, did you watch that fight?
No,
I didn't either. I thought maybe you did. One fight that you did watch that I didn't watch, but I'm gonna let you take it away, is you watched the Jake Paul versus
don't get me started.
Tommy Fury fight.
I have never been so watching this fight. I was not emotionally invested in anyone. However, when that fight started, I was like in it.
Oh,
I was getting really heated.
Did you
and frustrated. Dude, I was screaming at the screen.
Ah, nice.
I was. And it's like, I appreciate and I can respect what Jake Paul has done for himself. He has, had a lot of success in a, kind of a short window, and he has, created this pathway for himself, and he's had success. I just don't appreciate that he has done it on the backs of my fellow MMA comrades. That's where I take issue with it, but that's neither here nor there. Or we can get into it if we want to. But the fight, the fight itself. So Jake Paul fought in Saudi Arabia against Tommy Fury, who is he doesn't have a crazy record. What I mean by that is he hasn't fought people that are super battle tested. He has definitely paved his way the way that certain people do in boxing or MMA. He has had careful matchups just like Jake Paul has. So I feel like looking at it objectively, it was a good fight.
Okay. I saw some highlights.
I saw some highlights.
I only looked after you told me that he lost.
Yeah.
I'm bitter.
I get it.
I know for a fact that MMA fighters have good boxing, and I refuse to accept, even though he's done it more than once, I refuse to accept that someone could just get off the couch and become a better fighter than someone who's been a lifelong MMA fighter and has good hands, like an Anderson Silva. I refuse to accept that. So
I get that.
It was really hard for me to watch it happen. And now I refuse to watch unless he loses.
Then you watch the playback. Listen,
then I watch the playback. The playback, the highlights.
I feel
of
like
him getting punched.
So looking at it objectively, we have two fighters that are kind of in the same position in their career, with who they fought, what caliber of fighters they fought, and the caliber of fighter that they are. I thought that it was a good matchup. It was a competitive fight. I definitely thought Fury won, hands down. But if you listen to the commentary or you saw any of the highlights in between rounds, you'd be like, oh my God, Jake Paul totally won. Because I have never heard more of a biased commentary in a fight. Oh my God. It was just, it was really hard to listen to and not, just wonder what the scorecards were going to read.
Yeah, I felt like a lot of people felt that way. From the comments that I was reading and stuff,
oh my gosh.
A lot of people were just like, wow, this guy is really reading from a script.
So it was Ray Flores. He was doing commentary. I believe it's the same guy that was doing commentary for the Anderson Silva fight when he fought Anderson Silva. And I was just listening to him and I was like, oh my God, what are you talking about? And in this fight, the same thing. Everything was just, it just seemed very one-sided. And I worried that the judges would do the same.
Yeah.
But they didn't. They got it right, in my opinion. I am no like boxing judge. I'm not like huge in the boxing world, but I believe they got it right.
Yeah.
Thankfully.
Good. I'm happy about that. The problem that I have with watching a Jake Paul fight is that it never looks nice. You know, like it never like looks clean and technical. And part of watching boxing is that these guys, they usually have at least 100 fights under the belt before they go pro. And then you watch a Jake Paul fight and you see that he didn't go through that through that process of cleaning everything up, learning how to stay balanced, learning footwork and you know, angle changes and everything. Like when you're watching a Jake Paul fight, it looks like, you know, he knows a little bit how to box, but that's it. He doesn't look like a pro boxer. So I think that's where my disbelief comes from, because I'm like, there's obviously places where Jake Paul can be getting countered that he's not getting countered. So that's where I get the foil hat, like when we were watching the Anderson Silva fight, and I'm like, why isn't he hitting him? You know? Yeah. And then that thing started circulating with the script. Did you see that post?
I did.
You sent it to me.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, with the script. And I didn't believe that it was an actual thing that somebody found, but it does illustrate how a lot of people felt the fights were actually going. Like Jake Paul and his team say, okay, we're going to pay you this much, but this is what you have to do. Mm-hmm. And I wouldn't be surprised if that's how he got most of his wins up until this point. So,
I mean, it does raise an eyebrow. I think that was fabricated, or like, I immediately thought, I was like, oh, maybe that's one of his manifestation papers.
Well, yeah, I don't think that it was real.
No.
But it's the reason that it exists is because that's what is on most people's minds.
Yeah.
Like most people think that his opponents are throwing the fights, you know? And it wouldn't be the first time it happened in history. And if anyone, a prankster would be expected to do something like that.
Sure.
So why, if I'm going to watch pro wrestling, I'm going to watch pro wrestling. I don't like pro wrestling. Sorry. Like I can't do it. Oh, I just can't sit down and watch it. I would love to be one. I'd love to be a pro wrestler, but I don't think I could ever watch my matches. I feel like if you watching yourself, I don't know, sing or act or something, just feels weird. But just I don't like being lied to. And that's how I feel when I watch a Jake Paul fight. And in this fight, at least, in the highlights, you can see him getting caught by those counters and combinations that I expected Anderson Silva to throw when Jake Paul would like off balance himself, just like overcommit to punches and stuff like that. Like he does have a lot of power, but a lot of times he doesn't know where to put it. It's kind of like those 180 guys that I try to spar, and still like, yeah, you can hurt me, but you gotta hit me first, you know. Like I was waiting for someone to kind of style on him, and it hadn't happened in all the Jake Paul fights that I watched. Yeah. So in the highlights, it did look like Tommy Fury had his number. I didn't have a lot of hope for him because his boxing rec, the guys that he's fought were like 10-100, 0-9, stuff like that. And I'm just like, here we go again. Yeah. But hey, this time, real boxing won.
Yep. And immediately after the fight, Jake Paul was humble for a second.
Oh.
And then he was like, yeah, I'm definitely going to execute the rematch clause that only he had. So if he won, there was no rematch clause. But if he lost, there was an immediate rematch clause. So he is going to execute that.
Okay.
As per his contract. And then he, right after that, followed up with saying that he felt flat because he was sick.
Oh, poor baby.
Yeah.
Well, now he knows you should pull out instead of showing up sick on fight night, because
otherwise you don't talk about it.
Now you sound like you're making excuses.
Yes.
Wah, wah, wah. Yep. Well, this feels like a good time to break, and then we'll come back with our exclusive 15. You want to just talk more shit about Jake Paul?
We're being constructive. It's not shit talking. We're just chit chatting.
Yeah, we're just getting sad about the direction that humanity is going. We'll see you in a sec.
Bye.